Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to some more StarCraft on Neon Violet Square LE. Spotting the top left-hand corner in the purple trunks, we've got Murk, Murk, Murk. Not sure if we're going to make him be Murk cubed or just Murk for the rest of the game, but we'll see how it is. Spotting in the bottom right corner in the blue trunks from Team Cap 1, we have justdmg. Now, so more StarCraft II action? Is it Christmas? No, it's just the After Hours Gaming League. I'm part of a team for the After Hours Gaming League in addition to other tech companies and digital companies. So check them out at ahgl.tv. So you guys can get in on some of the action, maybe be able to participate in the Fall League. What's going on? They're going to be competing in StarCraft, Overwatch, League of Legends, and Dota 2 this season. Next season in the fall is still kind of up in the air, but we'll see what has to go with that. I think CSGO would be pretty dope, but I'm not sure what I would play in the fall. But we're just gonna kind of see how it goes. Neon Violet Square is kind of an interesting map in the ladder pool right now. There's two things that make it kind of unique. In the corners of the map, there is a kind of a half expansion. There's 4 mineral clusters instead of 8. With full geysers. So interesting from a resource management perspective. What's also interesting, the middle of the map, there are some grids that change enemy movement. So you can't just walk through here, you have to dodge the grids that are happening right here. Later in the game, there are destructible rocks that can be destroyed to make things a little bit easier across the map. Now, from our Protoss' base, we see something a little unorthodox. We see a forge, we see a zealot being built and a second gateway. Terran's playing a little bit more standard, getting that barracks, getting a second refinery, and moving in from there. One thing that is a little bit different, Murk is putting a proxy command center in the top right corner of the base, which is pretty... what? Wow. So DMG also doing the same thing, putting a proxy base in the bottom left-hand corner of the map. So both these players trying to get a hidden expansion to be able to surprise the opponent with your economics and go from there. Now, this Reaper coming in, it's going to start smelling something fishy. The fact that 3 probes are moving out in the map. 2 of the probes are going to kind of just juke and jive and see what they do here. That Reaper gets that taken out. That probe may get spotted, but it's not. We'll kind of see how those grids look. However, that Reaper is thinking, hey, something's kind of fishy. There's something else going on in the map. What is going on? He doesn't see anything quite yet. Move over to this base, and lo and behold, proxy expansion. I wonder what he's thinking right then and there. Is he thinking like, oh no, he's proxying too? I hope he doesn't figure out that I'm proxying. Now, DMG's response, get that cybernetics core, get 2 additional gateways. Warp Gate still hasn't been researched yet. However, it looks like he's going to do an expansion on his own in the corner over here. And let's go ahead and try to hide that particular base right there. Now, expanding early on in Legacy of the Void is something that is important. It's not something you can, like one base strategies really aren't as effective as they used to be. So getting the expansion and looking for that is really important. That pylon's still chilling over there. While we see Murk getting the Destiny Cloud Fist build, bringing that reference back from 2007, 2011, or whatever the heck the game came out of. It was 2010, 2011. Wow, I feel old. So getting the barracks, getting the factory, getting the starport. Looks like we see a Liberator being sent out. That defender mode is going to make it siege on things. We'll see what happens there. Warpgate just now starting to be chrono boosted out from DMG. The worker counts are very similar, but the army supply is what is the biggest differential right here. We see murkmurkmurk having a pretty scary army right here with a handful of Marines, a siege tank, and that Liberator. It's about 75% complete. As opposed to David's, or DMG's army. Whoops. His initials are DMG. DMG's army is the Zealot and the Stalker right here, in addition to this Observer. So we'll see how that transitions to things. We also see a Twilight Council that Cybernetics Core is getting Chrono Boost to try to catch up on the fact that there was a delay. Not majorly saturated in the bottom right corner over there quite just yet. However, it's still pretty early on to the game. We see a reactor being built onto the starport in addition to an additional factory, so it looks like we see a transition into mech from here, in addition to a third command center. Now, the 3 command centers at about 5 minutes is pretty good benchmark for most players. Now, whenever you're early on into your StarCraft career, getting 3 expansions pretty quickly without macroing behind it and being on top of everything can be kind of dangerous. Another thing that can be kind of dangerous is this Liberator right here, transitioning into Defender mode. Actually, so far, he's gotten 7 kills that I've missed so far, just rolling in right here. An evacuation of the probes to the front of the base. However, the Liberator is just going to re-siege and transition over to Defender mode and take out more workers down here. 8 kills, 9 kills, 10 kills, 11 kills. Do we see 12? Do we see 13? Wow, 15 kills, 16 kills with probes right here. Ooh, that's no good for DMG. Units lost is heavily favoring the Terran player right here. The units lost, 21 probes have been taken out just to 1 Reaper. Lethal damage has been applied right here. In addition to his income is just completely destroyed. He's not mining any minerals out of any of his bases. He's doing gas right here, but not able to do much else. That's kind of the downside whenever you have bases like this. You either have to have blink in order to be able to blink back and forth between both bases, or be able to have phoenixes of your own to be able to do anti-air defense. So whenever you're thinking about your expansions, think about how you're going to be attacking here. So this was a more natural expansion and somewhat easier to defend or be able to respond to. Now, how the Terran is going to be responding is just by sending his infantry force down the way. We see the tanks taking a slightly different path. One of them gets cleaned up. The other 2 tanks are just retreating back home. Looking just at the straight army supply, it looks pretty dire for our Protoss superhero. The Terran just posturing just outside of the base with a battalion of Marines and a single medevac. War Prison moving in, transitioning into the actual warp mode right in front of the turret. Very hard to look cool after that. The SCVs and the Marines are coming up to the base right here. A couple pylons are shutting everything else down. The command center up here just lifting up and moving out. However, with just 1 pylon powering the rest of the critical structures for our Protoss superhero, his income's about to be completely destroyed. No minerals to be able to even try to be able to expand out of there. That siege tank doing some significant damage up front, in addition to the Cyclone that is very hard to see. DMG GGing out, and there's our second game. So stay tuned for a little bit more StarCraft action right after this.